Hey everyone, this is Russell Brunson. I want to welcome you to today's training class, and I am super excited for this for a lot of different reasons. I think one of the reasons why I'm most excited for this is this process that you guys are going to learn today is something that I've been really passionate about. It's something that I've shared in part over the last 10 years or so, different pieces and different areas and stuff like that. And this is the first time I've ever put it together in kind of one presentation that doesn't so much give you every option that's possible to make money online, right? There's a ton of different things you can do, and a lot of different just ways you can kind of grow a business and a company online. But instead, we're gonna be focusing on what's really kind of the shortest path from I'm getting started to me making as much money as possible. And that's kind of the goal for today. And I'm excited. I think you guys are going to love it. I'm going to be sharing you guys the exact same path I went from. And the first time I went through this process, it took me about 18 months or so to go from complete beginner up to the point where my little company, my little thing that I had created, my little expertise where I was selling my advice had done over $1 million. But what's kind of fun about it is a few years later, my company had grown really big. We had at one time almost 100 employees, and we had some issues come up, as businesses often do, where we had kind of some ups and downs, and we had a really big hit that kind of hit us, and I had the opportunity, whatever you want to call it, where I had to let go 40 or 50 people in a day, and eventually cut our staff down to a really small size, and it was hard and it was scary. We didn't have cash flow coming in. We needed some way to make money quick, and I look at what I did in our business. I went back to what's going to make me the most money the fastest. What's the shortest line from beginning to cash coming in and to a lot of cash coming in, and it's funny now looking back, because we could have tried a whole bunch of different things. There's so many different business models and ideas and ways that we could have done it. But when my back was against the wall, I look at what did I actually do, and it was this process I'm taking you guys through. I followed this process to a T, where I'm going to show you guys, and after it was said and done, we were able to launch this new project. And in about 2.5 to 3 months, we made over $1 million worth of the second time around. And so it's a process that works. And I have some people I'm going to bring on here today during this webinar to kind of show you them doing this process. And both of the people I'm bringing on, what's exciting is that both of these guys have done this process over the last 2 or 3 months, which is really cool. One of them is a guy named Brandon, and he actually took this process I'm sharing with you guys last weekend. Went to a little seminar, about 50 people, did his presentation, and he doesn't have all the stats yet and what exactly you guys will kind of see, but from this process, he's already made $40,000 in sales, and if he screws it up badly, he'll do over $120,000 by the end of this week, and I think he's going to do a lot more than that, which is kind of cool. And the next person, I'm super excited for you to meet her. She's amazing. She came into our Inner Circle coaching program about 4 or 5 months ago, and she told me, she said, Russell, I want to make money quick. What's the shortest path from here to here? And I kind of thought for a little bit, and I said, this is what I think what's going to be best for you and for your personality. And she went and ran with it, and she'll kind of share some of your numbers, but super proud of her. Last month did over $30,000. I think this month they're on track to do over 100, and it's just growing really rapidly for her as well. So I'm excited, you guys. I think you'll really enjoy some of these people, and you're going to love their stories, and so I'm excited to show them, to bring them on with you, and then also for you guys just to kind of see this process for yourselves. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, this is not a typical webinar where it's going to be 60 to 90 minutes. This is a training class. It's going to be going on for who knows how long. Sometimes these things go for hours, but my guess is anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 hours we'll be going tonight. And I'm going to go until we're done. I want to make sure you guys get this information and you get all the pieces of it, because when you have them all together, that's where the magic happens. And so I'm not a big fan of traditional education. Any of you guys who know me for a long time know that I struggled in high school, I struggled in college, and I think what was hard for me is that I'd go to a class, right, for 45 minutes, and I learn a little piece of a topic, and then I go to the next class and I learn a completely different topic, and throughout the day I learned like 8 or 9 different things, little fraction pieces of each thing, and it took me the entire semester to get like the whole picture of what that thing was. And it was really hard for me. I think it's hard for a lot of people that way. And I'm a big fan of learning through immersion. And so instead of dragging this on for the next 6 or 8 weeks, giving you piece by piece, I want to give you guys an immersion experience where you spend 3 or 4 or 5 hours with me. You get the entire picture. You see, oh, this is how it works. And now you can come back and you can, because you have a full picture of what the entire business model looks like, now you can come back and you can kind of go back and start building it and be really successful from there. So that's kind of the game plan. That's why we're going so long. But I promise you guys it'll be worth it. I think you're going to have a ton of fun along the way, which should be really, really cool. Cool. All right, so I'm going to jump in the presentation. Again, I got a lot of stuff I'm going to be showing you guys. I got some slides. I got some websites I'm going to show you. This is not so much just like here's some information how to do it. We're actually going to be building out this entire process live. So you guys will see me going through each of the steps so that when you get to the part where you're doing it, you're not going to get stuck on any technical things. You're like, oh, I remember seeing Russell do it. And you can go back through and watch the webinar over and over and over again if you need to make sure you kind of master it. Now, a couple other things. Let me show you this real quick. This is kind of the outline that I'm going to be going through today. A lot of cool stuff. I will get you guys a copy of this after the webinar is over so you can go back through and have all of my notes. I think that'll help you guys as well when you're going through and actually implementing it. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into this, you guys. All right, so the title of this presentation is Expert Secrets, How to Make a Full-Time Income Working Part-Time Selling Your Advice. And what's kind of funny, some of you guys probably saw the pre-sale video for this, and in there I talked about how last year I made over $1 million by selling my advice, and how interesting it was because I don't have any certifications, I don't have any higher education, I don't have any of those things that typically someone needs to feel like they're an expert. The one thing I do have is I've got some specialized knowledge, things that I've learned along the way from my study and from trying things and applying things that have worked for me. And as I've shared them with other people, they've worked for them as well. And that's really the only credentials that you need. And I think a lot of times that people that want to get into this expert space and want to share their knowledge and their information and make a ton of money with that, they struggle because they don't feel like they're an expert. And I really want to kind of help today kind of break that paradigm with you guys. And I'll go over that here in a little bit. But I promise you guys that the information, the advice, the knowledge you have right now inside of your head, the life experiences you have, there are people out there who, if you give those things to them and you help them through it, you could literally change their lives, and people will pay you incredibly well for doing that. And it's important to understand that. I don't think I got that at first when I got into here. I was like a 21-year-old kid. I was failing out of school almost. Luckily, I had wrestling, which kept me in school and kept me making sure that I got my 2.0 GPA. But I really struggled with it, and I always thought I was the dumb kid. And it wasn't until after that when I started, learning the stuff that I was passionate about. And all of us, we spend time on the internet and we read books of things that we like, right? And I started reading personal development. I started reading marketing stuff, and I started learning all these things. And I learned really quick that if I'm learning what I like, then it becomes really fun to learn and to study and to grow. And then when I go and I take these things and I can apply it to other people's businesses, man, people think you're a genius, even though all you're doing is just sharing what you're passionate about, what you've been studying and you've been learning and you've been testing and trying on yourself. And it's really cool. So with that said, I just want to kind of get that out of the way, that's the goal of this presentation, is to show you guys how to make a full-time income by working part-time selling your advice. And I promise you, your advice is going to be worth a lot more. And by the end of this, you should be convinced of that. That's one of my goals. Okay, now before we get started, we need to cover the ground rules because this training is different than most trainings you've probably been on in the past. As you know, it is a premium webinar. The price for this event was not free. It's $297, but you had a chance to come on here for free, and you have a chance to kind of put me to the test and see if all this information, if all this stuff is actually good, if it's worth it to you, and if it's worth the ticket price. Now, to put this into perspective, a lot of people think, wow, $297 is a lot of money, Russell, for some training. But if you look at it, right now we charge about $3,000 an hour for private one-on-one consulting with me. And so what you guys are getting is over the next, I think we're probably going to go for 5.5 hours or so of my time, and you're only going to be paying $297. So when you look at it that way, it's really not that expensive. But the coolest thing is you don't have to decide right now. You get to go through the entire process first, see if it's worth it to you, see if I blow your mind, see if it gives you a paradigm shift and gets you prepared to kind of enter a new chapter of your life. And if it does, then and only then will you have to pay. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. So at the end of this webinar, I'm going to ask you guys if it was worth it. And like I said, you have a chance to kind of judge me. So that's kind of what's happening. And then what we're going to do is throughout this presentation, I'm going to be, obviously I can only give you as much as I can in 5.5 hours. I'm going to try to give you everything I've got, obviously, but there's going to be resources and tools and other things outside of this training that I'm not able to give you. And so what happens is after anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after this webinar is over and you get billed the $297, then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to send you a private message that'll give you access to a members area. And the members area will have a bunch of cool stuff. One thing is going to have a replay of this entire webinar, because I promise you guys, you are going to get a little bit overwhelmed. That's just kind of the way it happens when we're talking about so much stuff in kind of a compressed time period. And so there's going to be a members area with the recording, so you can go back and you watch this over and over again, as well as a whole bunch of other resources and tools and just things I think you're going to need to help you along your expert journey. Okay, so again, we'll send you access to that after your billing goes through when the webinar is over. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we are trying to create a community of experts where you guys can come together and share ideas and ask questions about this training and ask questions as you're moving forward in your business. And so if you want to join that group, again, it's a private group, so it's only for people who have been through this Expert Secrets training. All you gotta do is go to facebook.com/groups/expert secrets. And that's kind of where you can join our private group and hang out with me and with a bunch of the other experts here who have been going through the exact same training as you are today. So it should be a lot of fun, and you guys will enjoy that group as well. So that's about it, you guys. Are you ready to get started? Okay, so this little image right here, this is the Expert Secrets process. Okay, there's 5 little bubbles here, and by the end of this will make complete sense to you. You'll see this and be like, wow, that's what it is. I get it. And so I wanted to make this for you guys so that when you're, I like having drawings because it gives you a visual of what we're going to be covering, because we're going to cover a lot of stuff. As I know, and as you guys know, I talk way too fast. And so this will hopefully give you the ability to recall what I talked about and how it fit together and all the different pieces. And so what we're going to do is going to start right here in the middle with information and kind of going through you and how you're an expert and how all the information and things you have, how that can be leveraged to make a lot of money. Then we're going to talk about your Dream 100, and this is the process where we're going to be focusing on finding out kind of what other people are doing in the market you want to be in and how we can leverage that. Next, we're talking about creating your system. Third is creating the perfect webinar that's actually going to sell your system. And then last is the promotion and how we get this out there to the world and how we get people finding out about it, coming to your website, giving you money, and all that fun stuff that entails. And that's the best part, you guys. But it does take a little bit of time, and I'm gonna give Liz a hard time. I know she's gonna be on here in a second, but with her, she was like, "I want to make 50 grand in the next I can't remember, like it was like the next 30 days." And I'm like, "Well, that's possible, but like you got a lot of work to do," and we kind of went back and forth with that, and luckily she's amazing, and she took her a little bit longer than like the 30 days, but not much longer. But a big part of it is creating this entire system, right? That takes a little bit of work. Doing the Dream 100, the research takes a little while. Building out this webinar takes a little while. But after those three things are done, like literally you don't have to keep going and creating new stuff over and over and over again. Like this could be your entire business. And after you've done the legwork, and for some of you guys, you'll be able to create this in a week. Some of you guys might take a month. But the reality is after it's done, it's done. Then you come back here and you just focus on this promotional stuff, which is fun and it's exciting. You keep driving people into the perfect webinar, which closes people and sells them your system. And boom, it just keeps kind of going through that process over and over and over again. Cool. All right. Okay. Now to be successful in this expert business, there are basically 2 essential tools that you have to have, and there's one that's kind of optional. Okay, and so people always ask me, well, how much money is it going to cost me to do this? And it's not a fortune. If you just want the bare bones stuff of what you have to actually make money, these are the things. First off, you have to have ClickFunnels. Okay, that's going to be building out your pages, your websites, your sales funnels, all those kind of things. I'm going to be showing you guys tons of stuff with ClickFunnels today. You've got to have an autoresponder. I think the best one is probably Aweber. So if you go to iloveaweber.com, you can get an Aweber account. So ClickFunnels doesn't cost you about $100 a month. Aweber is going to cost you about $20 a month. And as your list grows, that'll go up. But to begin with, it's pretty cheap. In fact, I think you can start with for $1 for like 30 days. But that's the tool. These 2 tools you have to have. Like you cannot make money online without these 2 tools. And then the third one is GoToWebinar, which is optional, but you're probably I'm pretty sure most of you guys are going to use it. after you kind of see this whole system and how all the pieces go together. So 2 essential tools and 1 optional tool that I highly recommend. And so if you have those 3 things, that's what you need to be successful with this. Everything else is just kind of nice to haves on top of it. All right. So I got 2 stories I want to share with you. The first one here is Brandon Fisher on the left-hand side, and that's him at the local theater here in Boise. He just won an award for some films he made. And then the next is Liz over here on the right-hand side. And I just totally stole both these pictures off their Facebook page, and I hope they don't mind, but I think they look great. So first I want to introduce you guys to Brandon. So Brandon is an expert, right? He's someone who has been doing film and videos and all sorts of stuff for a long time and having a ton of success with it. But for whatever reason, he was always behind the camera, and he's got his expertise, and he wanted to make money with it, but never really could do that outside of just kind of doing his service. And he'll kind of tell you the story here in a second, but he was able to go from a year ago, he went and he did a presentation and it bombed, to he came back here about a week ago. He told me he was going to give a presentation. I showed him the system I'm walking you guys through right now, and he went in afterwards and just crushed it. And so Brandon actually is not able to be on the webinar live, so I recorded a quick 5-minute video with him earlier today that I'm going to show you guys, and it'll kind of tell you his story. So let me grab this video real quick. All right, let me push play, and this is Brandon's story. Hey everyone, so first off I want to welcome Brandon. Brandon, how you doing today?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. So I want to bring Brandon on for a couple reasons. First off, he is an expert, and I've had a chance, in fact, if you guys have seen any of the videos we've been putting out lately, it's his talent and skills that's been kind of doing all the stuff behind the camera. So he's an expert with video stuff. And what's cool is that he was able to use kind of the structure of the presentation I'm going to be giving you guys today, and he wasn't selling like a training course or anything. He was selling his services, and so I want to kind of just kind of walk through your experience with what you did, so they can see kind of the power of what we're talking about. So let's start with a year ago, the first time you kind of presented at this conference, and let's talk about kind of what happened there.
Okay, sure. So I paid to become like a vendor for this group. They said, hey, you've got 2 minutes, come up on stage and you can sell your product. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Even though I have never done group presentations before, super nervous, just didn't work out very well. So I get up there and super shaky in my voice, which anytime I hear that, I try to correct it. It doesn't work. Anyway, afterwards, this guy pulled me aside on the golf course later and was like, hey, I just want to let you know that that presentation you gave, it wasn't very good. But preface that, he did say like, hey, can I pull you aside and actually tell you something? And he basically told me that if you do not have passion for what you're doing, you will not make any sales in life. If you want people to write you that check, you got to have passion. And I was like, well, geez, I love video. I love doing this stuff. Like, how can I become passionate? Like, I feel like I'm passionate, but how can I outwardly show that? Because I believe that you can still be passionate and nervous at the same time. Because anyway, so a year later, they invited me back to this group. I've met Russell since then, and talk about building me up and giving me confidence. Russell helped me with my presentation, helped me basically figure out how to get me on track so that I don't talk about things that will distract and I go in a different direction or path. Because if I was to give that presentation again, I had to speak for 30 minutes in front of a group of 50, and I would have been absolutely so nervous. I was like, no way. But because I had such a bad experience, like a year ago, if you will, like I've already done it bad once before. I feel like you have to kind of have a failure so that you can see where you're at, so you can see where you want to go.
Yeah.
And thank you, Russell. I mean, you helped me out a ton by building me up, giving me the confidence that I need. Out of the group of 50, after the presentation, I said, how many of these people, or how many of you here want to sign up? Anyway, I ended up getting 25 applicants to sign up for my video services, which I was like super excited about.
And what's cool about it is like, this whole concept. Most people who are on this training are going to be creating like a $500 to $1,000 product they're selling, but you're selling like super high, expensive. Do you mind like throwing out a ballpark of kind of what the price point you were selling at?
Sure. $40,000 system that I do. So
That's awesome. So $40,000 system. From the presentation, you got 25 applications. I know that this was like just like a couple days ago, so you just started kind of calling the applications and stuff. But I know you've already closed the first one, and I think this is gonna be like dominoes. They're all gonna fall down from here. So
correct.
it'll be fun. Like, it'll be fun to kind of look back at this in 2 weeks from now and see how much money actually came from that. But let's say like worst case scenario, how much money do you think that presentation will make you?
Uh,
That's
First
hard to say.
case, I guess 120,000. That's my goal. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm hoping to get 3 of these signed up. But like you said, I think as soon as you get one guy signed up, which I